What is going on, guys? DragonTamerBlayde here, back from our Elder Scrolls Legends, and today, I know I'm a couple days late, but I was away for the last couple days, and yesterday we had some new cards to talk about, but we have one last new card to talk about. It is the monthly card for December. It has been revealed. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, and then we'll talk about some synergies. This is it right here, Ashlander Punisher. It's a Archer card, 4 cost, a 5/4 with Breakthrough, Pilfer, and Slay, +1/+0. So right off the bat, looks like a very awesome card to play in Slay Archer. Archer just keeps being the better of the main Slay decks for me personally. I like Scout better, but Archer just is better put together right now. So Pilfer and Slay being +1/+0 is already pretty solid for Slay effects, and then you got like the Sanctuaries and stuff like that. But then with Breakthrough, killing a token or something small or like a Night Mother token will give you +2/+0, not counting your Brotherhood stuff, Brotherhood Sanctuaries and stuff like that. So this card can snowball very easily on its own, pretty much, just trading into little tokens and stuff that you may generate. So I like that a lot. The stats are solid for a 4-drop. 4 cost 5/4 is not bad. It does die to Lightning Bolt, but a lot of stuff in the game dies to Lightning Bolt. You can't only judge a card based off of if it dies to Lightning Bolt or not. The card's powerful, but let's take a look at some stuff as well. The card will still be on the screen. I think it fits into Blood Drunk Slay Pilfer deck. I don't know if I still have that deck in my... I do. Here it is. We'll pull it up in here. So this type of deck here, it's using target generators. It's using where is the guy? Skooma Underboss, and then Thieves' Den with tokens and stuff like that. This deck can do some pretty insane things. And I think that that card can kind of just slide right on into this deck, which is probably where I'm going to try it out first, because this deck's already pretty well put together. And another huge synergy with Ashlander Punisher is with Unstoppable Rage. On turn 12, you can play them together from hand, which if you break through and slay a full lane, you're getting +8/+0. Again, not counting potential Brotherhood Sanctuaries. So that's pretty solid. Just anything good that can be played from hand with Rage is always a good thing to do. And 5 attack should clear a majority of creatures in the game. Not everything, but a solid majority of creatures should die to a 5 attack creature. You can do things like Gambit Crossbow to kill other creatures. You can use the Sword of the Inferno to slay creatures to trigger the slay effect. You have a lot of synergies with Ashlander Punisher. But even just using it as kind of like a beat stick, I think is pretty solid. Like I've already mentioned, my main hope for a card like this is to use with like Morag Tongue Assassin, Night Mother, and Naryu to kill the tokens with Brotherhood Sanctuaries up, and then maybe even potentially a Skooma Underboss, so that his Pilfer attack will also be a Slay, so the Slay will trigger twice, and then you could potentially Brotherhood Sanctuary and just out of control for an early game high roll victory. So that's kind of what I was thinking for the card. Could also make some sort of more aggressive Archer deck that's kind of capping out around this area. Have this guy kill some cheap tokens and just kind of be that beat stick. Also pairs... It's a kind of, I don't want to say must-answer threat, but it's a very vicious threat that also should open up the viability of Torval Extortionist. Torval's biggest weakness right now is it usually just gets insta-removed because it's such a threat. But the more threats that you can chain together, obviously, unless your opponent's playing Tribunal Control, you can't have an answer for every single card. So if you have must-answer threats that you're chaining together, eventually one of them is going to stick. So I think Torval Extortionist does get helped out by the existence of Ashlander Punisher. And that'll be interesting to run. I also think that Mid-Dagoth, which has been a very popular deck lately, gets helped out by this card. If you look at the 4 slot, which it is pretty crowded, This is an old list. I haven't updated it since any of the nerfs happened. But potentially these decks... I think this deck still easily can trigger Ash Berserker, so I don't think it gets cut. But you could potentially slide Ashlander Punisher into one of these slots. Replacing one of these 4-drops or dropping something else. Just putting another, like, strong threat in a deck that is filled with strong threats. I mean, if you're chaining... I don't know, something with Steel Scimitar, and then you get down Awakened Dreamer into Vigilant Ancestor, into Ash Berserker or Ashlander Punisher, into your Hand of Dagoth. Like, your opponent just gets kind of strangled by that. That is just a ton of greatness to answer. So I think the card fits really well in a mid-Dagoth deck. Fits really well, like I mentioned, in Slay Archer. I think this could not quite be a aggro archer, but a more aggressive archer that's kind of like a faster mid-rangey curve could fit this in. Like a mid-range archer that is kind of tilted towards the aggressive side of things. If we're looking at decks like a sliding scale, could probably fit this card in there as well. A regular traditional Rage Archer as well, I think, could run this card. Let's take a look at my Rage Archer while we're here. Only 4 drops in my regular Rage Archer are Ash Berserker and Bog Lurcher. And if you're looking at my regular Rage Archer, I think you could potentially cut Ash Berserker for Ashlander Punisher now, with this being a little bit harder to trigger, since you can't just slap an improvised weapon on him to self-trigger. And most of the rest of the deck having 3-ish attack, besides obviously the late game bombs, Ash Berserker becomes less consistent, so you could potentially consider just running Ashlander Punisher. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say this card doesn't have a lot to it, because there's a lot of different decks that this card fits into. I think it's one of those cards that probably isn't going to be creating a new deck type or pushing a new deck type on its own. But I think it's one of those cards that can slide into a couple different decks that we already have existing and potentially make them better. I don't know if that's guaranteed, but at least something to test out in those decks. And if it winds up making them better, that's cool. If not, that's fine as well. At least we got something new to try. But all the decks that this card is fitting into are probably tier 2 or lower decks, so it's a good thing if it could potentially make them better. Mid-Dagoth is probably close to tier 1, if not tier 1. I don't really keep up with the meta all too much, but I know the deck's been getting more and more popular. So if that deck gets any better, I mean, it's already one of the more popular decks, so it could be even more popular moving forward. But yeah, I'm excited to try this card out. We will be playing some Slay Archer, or maybe even Blood Drunk's Slay Pilfer Archer, as soon as we get our hands on the new card in the new year. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what synergies or what decks you're looking to slide this card into down below in the comments section. And as always, thank you all very, very much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.